Come on in. Hold the door. It's windy outside. Don't let it slam. Come on in. Set a spell with me. It's been about a week, I think, since I did one of these things, as Mama calls it. It's been a crazy week. I have a huge list of things to go over with you. We have a lot of catching up to do. There's a couple of minor things, couple of major things. I pulled the trigger on something I'd been wanting for a while. So we're going to get started. All right. So the first thing I want to cover with you, let's talk Temu. Right now, we can still get direct ship. Even those of us in the United States can still get direct ship items. There is an easy way to do that for anyone who has an iOS device. If you have an Android or if you use your laptop, this will not work for you. You won't see it. Trust me when I say I am working diligently with two people at Temu to try to get this corrected. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the option on the main search page that says ships from Temu. There's actually an option now that says that. I don't like that light in my eyeballs. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. All right, that's taken care of now. I never know where reflections in my glasses are coming from, but you know what, guys? I did the contact things. I'm not doing it again. So back to what I was saying. When you go to the main screen of Temu to shop, you have your main menu up on the top, and it'll say things like, your search bar, it'll give you new arrivals, hot deals, whatever. You scroll down a little bit, and there's a second main bar. And that's usually where you see like lightning deals, etc. Well, if you have an iOS device, you look at that now, you will see second in from the left, it'll say chips from Temu. If you click on that, and hopefully you're watching this thing that I put up over here. If you click on that ships from Temu, it will automatically sort and give you everything that you can get direct ship. Easy peasy, right? Yeah. Well, the only ones that can get it are iOS users. So I'm an Android user, and I know there are thousands of you out there that are Android users or you use your laptop. That option to sort for ships from Temu is not there for us. So I have been going back and forth with Temu, screaming discrimination and anything else that I can to try to get them to be all inclusive, because every USA shopper or every shopper anywhere, if you want to buy direct from Temu, you should have that option. Now, with the tariffs, we don't know how long USA consumers are going to be able to buy direct from Temu or going to want to buy direct from Temu because of the cost of the tariffs. That may go away. We don't know. We have no clue, right? We're in the dark. Your guess is as good as mine. But for now, I'm trying to fight to get everybody to have access to that sorting feature. But those of you with an iOS system, whether it be you're using your little notebook or whether it's your phone that's an iOS system, you have that option. All I can say is go for it, and I'm working on it for the rest of us. I'm telling you, Timo just gets screwier and screwier. I'm trying. I know there's glare there, guys. There's nothing I can do about it. You'll find out why later on when I tell you why I'm sitting where I'm sitting. Okay. So let's get into what I got from Temu. Small, medium, and large item. And then there's been a ton of stuff going on around the house. And I have a surprise recipe for you. And yes, this recipe is edible. So the first thing I got from Temu, this little package, this was $1.82, and it's 20 pieces. And these are filters. Now you can use these for oil, paint, solvents, even in your kitchen. They're food safe, right? They're just little cone filters. There's 20 of these in the pack. And they're disposable. This is what they look like. They have this really fine mesh screen in the bottom here. That's all it is. So if you have like cooking oil or something that you want to strain, this is fine. It'll work for that. It'll catch the bad stuff. You just throw it all away. What I got it for is for filling my paint cans. Remember this funnel that I picked up at the Dollar Tree for $1.25? This big giant thing? I took one, I pushed it inside, and I did test it. That's why you can see it looks a little wet. I tested it with water. What I want to do is when I put this into my jugs that I'm going to pour my leftover paint into, I want to make sure there's none of those strings or blobs of paint or anything that might have blown in while the cover was open. I want to keep my paint clean. So this liner will also help keep the filter clean, or the funnel clean. Filter, funnel, clean. Pull it out, throw it away. A lot less mess down the neck. Yes, of course I have to clean, but that's what I got them for. So I got 20 of them for $1.82. I thought that was a great deal. Forever to get here though, because they were lost with this item. This, basically, this was about $8. I ordered this 7 weeks ago, and it just showed up a couple of days ago. It was completely lost. It made it to California. This was a direct ship. It made it to California, and from there, no updates, no sign of it, no nothing. Well, come to find out, this thing had traveled around the country because the box that it came in had multiple labels on top and on top and on top and on top. And it just kept getting shipped. Literally, this thing ended up in Maine, New Jersey, Idaho, and I think Kansas before it made it to me. But because it took so long, I didn't even have to ask for a refund. I was refunded the full purchase price. And here's the thing. Initially, I was given price adjustments. I thought there was like 3 or 4 price adjustments on this. And then it was delayed, so I got a $5 credit. And then it came up missing, so I got a full refund of the original price. So I actually got the equivalent of what 2 of these would have cost. What are these, you ask? This is a portable desktop. Comes in different colors. This is the one that I chose. It has the slot for your pen. It has your cup holder. It has a nice curve in case you do want to pull it tight to you, all right, on the bed. Completely foldable legs, and the legs are not plastic, they're metal. Sits it down on a tabletop. Very sturdy made. I like that it has the plastic guard all the way around it. Well worth waiting for. This one is the wood grain with the black. They have them in all different colors. The size on this one, I believe this is an 18-inch. Let me double check. I have a measuring tape here. This is 19 inches across, and in the widest part, it is 14 inches, and the narrowest part, it is 12 inches. Not bad, right? This will make a nice, if I want to put my laptop across me, put my feet up, put this, and then put what I'm recording on, my notebook, on top, I could sit and lounge and relax. I could take this into the bed if I'm not feeling well, or if I just have paperwork. But I love that it folds down completely flat, and I can just tuck it aside, which is what I'm going to do right now, into the corner. And that's all there is to it. It's out of the way. Really nice product. I'm very, very happy with that. Okay, product number 3. I'm going to have to show you in pictures because I'm actually using it right now, but you can't see it. I pulled the trigger and I finally had enough credits that I saved up to reduce the price of this to about $10. from about $50. And you know, I've talked about many times that I have a budget and I try to keep my orders like around $40 or so. That way I can do multiple orders and bring you more stuff. Well, I saved up for this and I got myself, and I'll put pictures up here, a lift top coffee table. Now, this is a smaller one. This is not full size. This one is just a little over 3 feet across and about 18 inches deep. So it fits perfectly in my space, but I had to wait until I had everything moved around and rearranged, and some of these tubs and bins from moving in were out of here and stuff was put away. I had to get a little bit more organized before I even knew if I would have space for one of these. And I got to tell you, I'm loving it. Not only does it make a nice footrest, and yes, I put my feet up on the coffee table. My house, my rules. But assembly, let's go through the assembly. This thing was heavy. This thing weighs probably about 60 pounds, maybe more, maybe 80 pounds. It's heavy. So assembly basically is you start by making the box, which is the body of it. And then after you make the box, you put the legs on. Those are easy. Everything just screws on. They provide you with the Allen wrench and the little mini screwdriver that you need. Right? You get all that put on, then you put on the bottom shelf, which gets secured to the legs and to the bottom of the table. Not really complicated at all. And then you put in the pneumatic lifts. And you do have to make sure you get those lifts going in the right direction, because you want them, when they're open, you want them on the short side of the tabletop so that you can tuck your legs under the part that's hanging over. All right. You got to make sure that you don't make it cockeyed so that when it closes, it doesn't close level or even, so to speak. You want to make sure it closes even. So you put those on. And then the hardest part was actually putting on the top, because you have to pull those pneumatic legs forward and you have to work from underneath where you really can't see what you're doing. Now, in hindsight, that's how the directions say to do it. After I did it in hindsight, I'm thinking, you know what? I could have put the table on its side so that I could see, or I could have actually attached the pneumatic legs or the supports to the tabletop first and then attach them inside the table, because that part is a lot easier to see when the tabletop is up. I would have had to brace the tabletop to hold it up while I did that, but I think that would have been more doable for me. So that was the hardest part, was putting the top on. But guys, I got to tell you, to lift it, you just grab both ends and you literally just lift, and it comes up nice and easy and solid. It fits across my lap with probably about with the way I'm sitting right now, I've got about 2 inches between the top of the table and the tops of my legs. You can push it back any distance that you want. If you don't want to close it all the way, you don't have to. You can push it back. I just pushed it back a couple of inches. You can push it back so it's a little further away from you. You can raise it just a little. But here's the thing. If it's not on carpet, it's going to slide. On my floor, all right, I have the vinyl flooring. On my floor, it slides. So I have to tuck my feet around the legs to hold it in place when I push back. That's how tight the pneumatics are on this. So I am really happy with the quality of this table. I am extremely happy with the size and the overall ease of use, so to speak. And the price, you know what? I priced these at every place I could find them online. Trust me. Wayfair, Overstock, Amazon, everything. No one had this exact same table any cheaper than Temu did. So at about $50 before adjustments, before all my credits, it's definitely worth it. If you live in a tiny space, or you have that need that, well, maybe, you don't want to get up and run into the dining room or run into the kitchen every time, you're sitting. I sat here yesterday and did my bills. I didn't have to get up and go to the desk, which is right here, but I was sitting here And because of the storage, everything that was sitting on top and cluttering my desk is now gone. You can see my desk is perfectly clear except for the lamp. So everything that I had on my desk is now down in the coffee table. So, my ledger books and everything else, and my record books and all little odd things that I need to store, extra paperwork. And there's room for a lot more in there too. Trust me. I'm just yes, I have no nails. You're going to see why in a minute too. But that's why I'm sitting where I'm sitting. That's why you're seeing all the light up here coming through, because I wanted to actually sit and show you the height is perfect for sitting here and doing a recording. So it's great for working. I could sit here and do a jigsaw puzzle on this table if I wanted to. Granted, not a super big one, but I could do, a 12 by 12. I could do a diamond painting on here. Whatever that you might need a tabletop for. This works great. I am loving it. Oh. By the way, Levi got me up exceptionally early this morning. The reason why we have a little bit more light coming this way than normal is because it's only 7:18 in the morning. And you would not believe what I already got done this morning. So that is my Temu products, the filters, the coffee table, and the little folding table. Let's talk about, and I already told you about direct ship. I will keep you posted on that. If I find out more, or when I find out more, because it's constant communication, 2-3 times a day, we're going back and forth trying to figure out why this option was not opened up for Android and laptop users. We'll figure it out. But you know what? Considering I don't hold much hope for USA continuing with direct ship, I personally am not too worried about being able to sort that way. I did find that if I just go into a category and I sort low to high, I will see a lot less local warehouse, and I'll see a fair amount of direct ship. Or if I go to my cart and I scroll down below my cart to where they have the recommendations for me, usually a lot of those things are not quite as much local. It's just frustrating. It's just seriously frustrating. But anyway, look, got my olive green Temu hat on. I got earrings that I made in my business, right? Beaucoup Jewelry Designs. These are my in dark olive. And I got a little olive, like, I don't know what you call it, little Spanish top on that I got years ago when Mom and I took our cruise, and it all just happens to match. I'm feeling very green today because my green thumb is back. So we're going to talk about that. Let's talk about what's been going on just around the corner. Okay? Well, before we do that, I do have 6 other Temu orders coming. Again, I pulled the trigger on a couple of large items besides the coffee table, things I've been holding off on, but I have a good mix of things coming for you. So don't give up. We'll get more Temu stuff in. Because of things that have been going on around the corner, I haven't been shopping elsewhere. I've been using up my Temu credits. So why not shop Temu if I have credits to use, right? Okay, now we can get into what's going on just around the corner. So the first thing I want to share with you is this little envelope. This is my first piece of mail from my family. Now, one of you sent this to my P.O. box, which is in the description. This is my first ever sub-love, I'll call it, subscriber love. And what is in here is a mix of 200 succulent seeds. Probably can't hear it. I didn't open it because I don't want the little seeds going everywhere. There are 200 seeds on there. Now, the envelope this came in did not have a return address on it. The postal stamp said it came from Missouri. I have a whole bunch of viewers in Missouri, so I don't know who sent this to me. I don't know who to thank personally, so I'm just going to say thank you. I was so excited to see that I actually had my first piece of fan mail, I guess, subscriber mail. So what I did, and this is the odd thing, because remember when I got all those cute little pots for the front porch? I had thought about putting succulents in them. I have no idea what these succulents are. There's so many seeds all mixed together. But one of the new plans that I came up with is I'm going to be making a what I call a flowing garden on the side of the house, on the street side of the house. I've gotten the front where I wanted, but on the street side, it's very barren. And I'm going to be using either big rocks or maybe even tires and make kind of a bumpy flowing garden that kind of pours out on the side of the house. I'm going to be sprinkling these succulents. Succulents can live outside year round here in Alabama. I'm going to be sprinkling these in certain areas and just letting the succulents grow and fill in and give color, greenery, whatever the case may be. So thank you to whoever sent these to me. I love this. This is going in my seed pack with my other gardens, with my other garden seeds. I'm also going to be putting lily of the valley seeds into that garden and letting them run all over the place. I have a whole bunch of different seeds, and a lot of creeping phyllox will go out there to make like this carpet color. So hopefully it'll come out beautiful. The plan is to try to get it done in either August or September so that everything has a chance to root and do good over October and November. If I'm not on schedule to get everything planted by early September, then I'll hold off and not do the plantings until spring. I want to make sure everything survives. Winter's not harsh down here, but you never know. Right. So my canna, my regular canna, has had beautiful blooms on the top of it. Here's a couple of pictures of that. The side of the house where those cannas are, I got the Dark Lord rhododendron planted. I've got all the caladiums planted, and you'll see all the sticks sticking up. There is a caladium rhombus in front of each of those sticks in the ground. So they actually sent me 7 caladiums, but 2 of them are really small. So I doubled those up, put them at the far end, and then put the other ones, the other 5 along. So I have the big one by the corner, and then I have the row. As you can see, I've got it completely mulched, and I added the solar lights that I got from Temu this time last year. So I had just enough solar lights. It was perfect amount to put them evenly. So I've got the 6 solar lights. I've got the edging installed, so that whole side of the house is done. I have 6 more bags of mulch I have to add to make the mulch a little thicker, but I have to put more pea stones along the back of the house where the water comes off the roof and make sure the water hits the stones and not the mulch. So I've got to add more stone in there, and then I'll finish putting in the rest of the mulch. So I don't have much more done, but that's coming along beautiful. And look at the outside of my house at night. Look at the lights on the side of the house, the little pathway lights between the shed and the house, the lights out in the front of the house, the light when the porch is on. You can see all the signs at night. It's come so far from being an empty space to now looking established. And I get so many compliments from my neighbors on it. So I'm really happy. I like the curb appeal that it has. I feel good about how the outside of the house looks. I'll worry about the inside as I go. But I feel good about the outside of the house. I treated myself, and you may notice that on the one side of the house, the picture of the front of the house, all of a sudden, on the far side away from the driveway, there's this big, beautiful green plant that's about 4 feet tall. That is a bird of paradise. It is an adult bird of paradise. It is 4 feet tall. It takes 3 to 4 years to get that big. So I specifically hunted down the big one. I got a great price on it. 4th of July sale prices. I got a great price on it. I gave it a spot that lines up with everything else. I put a nice big hole for it, gave it plenty of fresh soil, lots of peat moss. That's not mulch you see around it, that's peat moss. I will be adding a little bit of the brown mulch around the top of it. And then, of course, I put the barrier of the pea stones around it to make it stand out like its own little item. and not risk having it be mowed or anything along those lines. It's doing beautiful. It's been in the ground since Friday, and we've had enough rain. It likes the tropical weather here. It likes the humidity. It likes the water. It's getting plenty of drainage, but it's absolutely beautiful. I just absolutely love that bird of paradise. In the back of the house, we're still working on it. Well, I say me and Mr. Levi, the supervisor. I gave a second light seating to the area directly behind the shed, put some more straw down on those patches to try to fill that out. And then I did a whole new section, another 30 feet back and 15 feet wide, that I put down all new seed, and I heavily seeded it. I put down the straw, and this time I got straw with tackifier in it. If you ever get seeding straw, make sure it has tackifier. Tackifier is basically a glue that's on the straw, so that after you put it down, you soak the straw and you walk on it as you soak it to press it down to the ground. We've had 3 storms since I did that, and that straw has not moved, as opposed to the first type of straw that I used that didn't have tackifier and it washed, which is why I got plumpy growth. So make sure it says it has tackifier in there. I'm going to see how this goes. Mother Nature's been watering it since it went down. I haven't had to go out and water it whatsoever. I have also not had to go out and water my tomatoes, which, as you can see here, they're starting to ripen. But I will give you, that's the good news. The bad news is they were mislabeled. They are not beef steak tomatoes. They are not the big one slice fits a slice of bread tomato. They are not beefsteak tomatoes. They are what's called beefy sweet tomatoes. They're only about the size of a tennis ball, but they're a very sweet tomato. They were obviously mislabeled. And I thought something's wrong because they were growing so fast to start with. But then when I realized that they started to ripen, I took a picture of them with a plant identifier, and that's how it told me that it was not a beefsteak tomato. Obviously, its size told me that too. But that's okay. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm happy that I actually have tomatoes that are growing and ripening. And we'll see what happens as the season goes on, because if you've ever planted tomatoes, you know they can grow for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and keep going into like September, October, so you have tomatoes for a long time. My watermelon bin is getting overfull, but look, I have 2 watermelons. One's the size of my thumb, and you can see the other one just below it that's only about the size of my fingernail. Well, when I took this picture, it was Saturday. When I went out and looked this morning, that bigger one is now the size of the palm of my hand. That's how fast it's growing. All right. And the smaller one is about half the size of my mouse. So figure about half the size of the mouse. That's the little one in just a few days. And the other one is now the size of my palm. So they're growing fast. And as I peek through all the greenery in there, there's a whole bunch more. So I'm going to have a lot of watermelons, but I'm very happy with how those are coming out. Okay, so I've covered all of that. Now, my weight loss journey. I weigh myself every Monday. I forgot to weigh myself this Monday. I don't know why. I don't even remember what I was doing. I think I was outside shoveling gravel again, working on the yard. I have a big gravel patch on the side that used to be parking, and I'm trying to rake up all that gravel and make use of it as walkways around my garden area. And then I'll put seed out there too. So I was probably out there. I know I was out there on Monday raking and doing stuff. So I didn't weigh myself until yesterday, and I'm down another half pound, which that makes a total of 5 pounds in 2 weeks, which is, my doctor says not to worry about it, that I'm not losing too much because I'm on schedule. She wanted me to average somewhere around 2.5 pounds a week, and that's exactly what I'm averaging. So as long as it still keeps going in the right direction, I'm okay. I'll take a half a pound. Any of you guys have thyroid issues out there? You know how hard it can be to lose even a half a pound, right? All right. So I'm happy that I lost that. Now, mom's audio tapes, I have one left. Two of you so far have gotten it. I did get confirmation from one person that she did receive her cassette. The other person, it was just shipped, so I don't anticipate she'll have it yet. And both of those were mainland USA. I do have one more of mom's audio tapes left. So if anyone is interested, you can place a bid. You can always make payment through buymeacoffee.com/Konneeslittlecorner. To make that way, you can use whatever payment source that you want. Again, if you're in continental United States, you will not pay any shipping. If you're outside the United States and you want this cassette, just shoot me an email with your address, and I will let you know in advance what your posting would be, your postage would be, so that you can determine whether or not you want to have the tape. Some people just want to have it as a souvenir and maybe keep it wrapped and never play it. But right now, there's, other than family and close friends, there's only two of you out there that actually have a recording of mom's music. It's just, yeah, I love it. I was playing it. My cassette player died. I have a little external cassette player that I can attach to my audio system. And it just totally, so I've got to either go Walmart's, Target, something, and just pick up a cheapy little cassette player. If the kids down the street had a little toy cassette player, it would play in there, but they don't even have one. Go to Goodwill. You never know what you can find in Goodwill. All right. So, what did I do this morning that Levi had me up so early? Yeah, it was like 6:02, 6:03 when he got me up. Well, he woke me up and I was wide awake. And I said, you know what? I might as well make use of my time. So I made flatbread. Now, this is just not any flatbread. This is probably the lowest cal, healthiest flatbread you will ever have in your life. And it is the best tasting. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Check it out. Making flatbread is very, very easy. Today, we're going to do that, and it's very quick. The prep time is very, very quick. So hopefully you guys can all see this. Here's everything that you need. You're going to need 1 cup of small curd, low-fat cottage cheese. You can use regular cottage cheese, but this recipe calls for low-fat. You're going to need a cup with your egg separator. You're going to need seasoning, whether it be garlic, onion. I use Italian seasoning. A measuring cup, a little bullet for blending, parchment paper, a cookie sheet, and 2 eggs, because you're only going to use the whites of the 2 eggs. So let me get everything turned here. I want you to be able to get, this is falling over. I want you to be able to get a good view of what's involved. This couldn't get much easier. All right, take your bullet. You set all this stuff aside here. We're going to do this a little at a time. You need 1 cup. There's your 1 cup measurements. You're going to need 1 cup of cottage cheese. Now, this bullet's a little bit small, but I can still get everything I need into it. Doesn't have to be exactly a level of cottage cheese, but it should be close to it. All right, I had to move back and get a spoon. So we're going to put that into the bullet. Now, if you want to use a bigger blender, that's fine, or a little bit larger bullet. I decided this bullet was big enough for what I needed to put into it. So we're going to get the full cup in here. Not too messy, right? A little bit of extra. Okay. So far, so good, right? Pretty easy. Now, 2 egg whites. I put my spoon down in there. Separate out your egg whites. There's one. And yes, you can put 2 eggs in here at the same time. It'll be fine. The yolks will stay in. Oops. So will the shell. And we shake through the second egg white. This is not too messy. Let me get this in a better spot where you can see it better. There we go. Is that better, guys? All right, I have my oven preheating at 350 degrees. There's my egg whites in there, and then I'm just going to put my eggs in there, and I will use those later. My yolks are actually going to go to Mr. Levi. I tend to give this just a quick stir to make it a little bit easier on the bullet. I'm going to add my spices, and you don't have to add a lot. You're only adding a couple of pinches because this is not a big batch. So maybe a dime's worth. That smells about right. 3 ingredients, that's it. Spices, egg whites. It has to work a little hard. Oh, hold on. Ran out of charge. So I had to switch to the bigger bullet. I couldn't find the charger, so I pulled out my bigger bullet. And this is kind of what it looks like. It looks like the thickness of dressing. And it smells yummy. I tell everybody, take a little taste, just a little finger on the side, so that you can tell if it's spiced properly for you. And this is delicious. So you're just going to start in the center of your parchment paper on your cookie sheet. Make sure you scrape out all that deliciousness. Try not to leave too much in the bottom. Have your little rubber spatula ready for that. Now, there's no salt, there's no pepper, there's no oil in making this, so this is very user-friendly for those of us on any kind of a journey. You can spread this out a little bit. I tend to just spread it out enough to make it look almost square, like regular flatbread would, but very, very lightly. You don't want to spread it out so thin that it becomes like a cracker. There you go. That's all there is to that. A couple of taps will help spread it a little further. Now we're going to put this in the oven for anywhere, depending on your oven, 350 degrees for anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes. I check it at 30 minutes, and I also go by smell. You can kind of smell when this is done. So we'll be back when I pull it out of the oven. Timer just went off. It's been 40 minutes, and let's pull this baby out. There you go. Look at that. This flatbread, look how nicely it browned. It doesn't stick to the paper. It does puff up just like a regular flatbread does when it's cooked. Now, I don't want to flatten it. I want to let it have all those little crannies, but look at that, absolute gorgeous. I'm going to transfer it over onto the grate so it can cool. I'm going to let it cool until it's completely so I can handle it with my bare hands. But that's it, guys. That's how easy it is. Look how beautiful this is. It's going to stay a little bit soft even as it cools. It won't get totally hard. It won't get totally crispy. All right. I don't try to separate it completely from the parchment paper. As you can see, I'm just lifting the edges a little bit, because if it's thin and it's stuck to the parchment paper before it cools, you don't want to tear it. So you want to make sure that you just gently work the edges just a little bit to start that process, and then let it cool. in about 5 or 10 minutes, you will be able to flip this over onto a plate, peel the parchment paper off. Do not try to lift this off the parchment paper. This is very thin. Now, if you want a thicker flatbread, same recipe, but pour it into a cake pan, all right, with parchment paper on the bottom, but put it in a confined pan, either an 8 by 11, a 9 by 11, or a square cake pan, or even a round cake pan. You can divide this batter up into two regular sized cake pans and make yourself two mini pizza crusts. So not only is this good for rolling and wrapping sandwiches because it will stay soft, and that's my intent. I'll cut it in half. This will give me one wrap, two wraps, just out of that 1 cup and 2 egg whites and the spices. If you want to add more spices, if you want to make it into a pizza, do so while it's warm so that the cheese and everything will adhere to the top of this. Unless you have a microwave, of course, which right now I don't, but this is a sandwich wrap for me. That's all there is. It's a beautiful recipe, and boy, is it delicious. Don't laugh. It's yummy. I was digging through my recipes and I found this recipe and I said, you know what? I have not made this in years, and it only takes the 3 ingredients. It's so simple to make. Literally, your prep time is like 5 minutes. How long does it take you to mix those 3 ingredients? It takes longer to preheat the oven. Now, in my oven, it did take a full 40 minutes for it to come out exactly perfect. But I started monitoring at 30 minutes. I take a quick peek at it and kind of monitor by color. Now, you can use this for so many different things. What I used it for, and I didn't take a picture of it, but I cut it in half. I took a pan separately. I scrambled up a little bit of eggs, put a little bit of Parmesan cheese onto the bread, put the eggs on it, rolled it up, and made myself a little breakfast burrito, so to speak, that didn't hardly put any calories in my body. All right, I'll put the calorie count up here on the screen so you can see actually how low it is. No salt in it whatsoever. No oils in it whatsoever. None of that fatty stuff that some of us have to be very careful that we're not going to consume or are going to consume. But this bread is so versatile. You can use it as a regular flatbread, put maybe some fresh mozzarella and tomatoes and basil on the top of it, right? Put it in the oven, under the broiler for like literally just 1 minute and pull it right back out again, or put it in the microwave just enough to soften the cheese and warm it up a little. You can also fold it and use it as a pita type of thing, or you can roll it and use it as a wrap. You can turn it into a regular pizza. You can make it you can pour the batter on parchment paper in any type of a shape that you want, right? I have the cups that are shaped like a crinkly taco shell. When you get a taco salad, they have those ripple little pie things. I could have poured it in there, right, and had it a coat around the sides, but it doesn't tend to stay on that. So if you want to do something like that, what you have to do is as soon as you take it out of the oven and it's really soft, you've got to very carefully peel it off the paper and you've got to put it into the mold to get that shape. But you can do it if you have the patience for it. I only do that when I make the dough, when I bake the dough in a round cake pan. So use a round cake pan, and as soon as it's done, pull it out, flip it into that mold, press it down so that it takes the shape, and let it cool. Then you can peel off the parchment paper and you've got yourself a taco shell that you can put a taco salad in. Right? So this can be used for so many different things. You can fold it in half, press the edges together, and use it like a calzone, a pita, a calzone. a pocket, regular flatbread, roll it up, make it a sandwich bread. This is a basic flatbread recipe. Now, this is not my pizza dough recipe. That's a separate recipe that's also very versatile that I will show you in another video. But this one, I had to do it. I had cottage cheese in the house. I had eggs in the house. That's all you need. that's that's it. And it freezes wonderfully. You can freeze it flat. You can roll it into shape however you want it. You can freeze it when it'll stay soft. It's not crunchy like a cracker. It is soft. You can roll it up so it takes less space, or you can freeze it flat if you have freezer shelves. Just put it in the gallon freezer bags or cut it in half and put it in the quart freezer bags. It will freeze beautifully. It'll come out. It will not be soggy. When I freeze it, I put wax paper. I put wax paper in between the pieces, and then I just put a piece of paper towel on the top, not on the bottom where it's pressing, but on the top, so that when I pull it out, if there was any kind of leftover moisture, it will still be there. It'll keep it from getting, what's the word I'm looking for? Like freezer burn. And you put it in the microwave with that paper towel. It puts the moisture back into it and gives you back the perfect dough. So freeze it, reheat it, use it. It'll keep in your refrigerator forever. I put it in a quart bag. I put it in my refrigerator. I'm going to make more of them. I'll probably make a batch of them, and I'll do that later today. It'll stay in the refrigerator. I've had a couple of them in the refrigerator before that. Well, they don't last weeks because I eat them, but they could easily last weeks and weeks. Just like a loaf of bread. You put a loaf of bread in the refrigerator and it lasts forever. It doesn't get moldy because it's not out in the light, and nothing is getting activated. We don't want anything activated. So I think that's it, guys. It's a little shorter video, but a couple of tables, some filters. I love this lift top coffee table. I really do. I'm very happy with all the big items that I've gotten from Temu. And if you go back and you look, since I bought my tiny home, I've gotten a lot of big things. I've gotten my big fire pit. I've gotten 2 lounge chairs. I've gotten the glider for outside. I've gotten this coffee table. I've gotten the small table. I've gotten the big umbrella and the umbrella stand. It's just, everything is getting bigger, I guess, because I'm getting to that point that that's the kind of things that I need. But now things are going to get smaller because now I need a little bit more of certain decor things, certain things I want for outside, certain things for inside the house. So it's going to get a little bit different mix. I've got some fun stuff coming, and I hope you'll stick around to watch that when it's time for that. Give me a big thumbs up, like and share this out to the universe. All right. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, not. Subscription is free, guys. It's not like a magazine subscription where you got to pay. Subscription, whether it be here on YouTube or Twitter or any place else, any of those other websites, it simply means you're going to follow the channel. All right. So they used to say like and follow. Now they say like and subscribe. So hit the subscribe button. What are you missing? What are you waiting for? You'll get to see more tiny home adventures. You'll get to see more gardening adventures, more recipes, more gardening tips. Before I sign off, one more gardening tip I do want to give you. If you're in an area that gets a lot of rain, like right now, this is a rainy season here, and I have not had I have not had to water with either my sprinkler or my hose in almost a month because it's been raining that much. We have beautiful sunny days, and then every night we're getting this pop-up thunderstorm, and it's soaking the ground, so I'm not raining in the morning. Some of the plants, like the giant Musifolia canis at the front of the house, their growth has slowed because they're getting too much water. Now, if you have a plant that's in a pot and it's outside getting all this water, bring it in under shelter. Put it in the garage, but where it'll still get light. Put it on the front porch, the back porch, bring it right in the house, wherever. let it dry out. If you don't have a water tester, Temu has them really cheap for just a couple of bucks. Make sure, and here's the thing, you don't want to test your finger depth because everything's been soaked. All the water's down around the roots. You want to test down where the water is. So if you have a paper straw, you can dip a paper straw down and see, let it sit there for like 30 seconds, pull it up and see how wet is the bottom. When the bottom comes up dry, then you can start watering that plant again. You have to let the roots dry out. If it's too soggy and your plant is starting to get wilty, maybe a little brown around the edges of the leaves or a little yellow around the edges of the leaves, take it out of that pot, set it in a fresh pot, and do not water it. Because when you take it out of that pot, you'll be able to see how soaked the bottom is. Do not water it for at least 48 hours. Then lightly water the top and let the roots dry out because you don't want root rot. If you have plants that are in the ground, hopefully when you dug your hole, you put a little bit of stone or gravel in the bottom of the hole first. Then you put some good, healthy compost / potting soil or peat moss around it, like you've seen me do with my plants. And that allows for proper drainage. But you're still going to want to use the water tester or use the straw and make sure the roots down the bottom are not super soggy before you start to water again. If it's going to rain, put your hose away. Let Mother Nature take care of it. Remember, all these plants, the azaleas, the rhododendrons, the hostas, the bird of paradise, everything that I have been planting around the property are all plants that thrive on their own with just Mother Nature. They're all plants that used to grow wild everywhere. Nobody was out there watering them or trimming them or shaping them, right? They weren't domesticated. They were feral. So let your plants be feral. Don't overdo with them. Don't dote on them. I go out there, I look at my plants, I talk to my plants there. How you doing today? What do you need? Let me check. I'll put the meter in the ground, check the water level. I'll look at the leaves real quick to see if there's any signs of insects, bugs or anything that I have to worry about, aphids, whatever the case may be. I'll look, are there blooms? Are the blooms healthy? Are they about to bloom? How much have they grown? Pay attention to your plants. But don't automatically run out there and expect that you have to water every single time. Okay? Questions, queries, posers, comments, inquiries, put them down below in the comments. Okay? So, guys, stay hydrated. Iced tea today. No, I did not have coffee this morning. Go figure, right? Above all else, please stay sweet. And I will catch you as soon as my Temu orders come in. Bye.